Welcome back to the channel, guys. Lucky to have Matt here in Florida. We shot a couple things for your channel earlier, so this is the continuation of that. We talked about lower body, so now we're going to expand on it.
Yeah,
okay?
So the hip motion you mentioned to me, and this is nothing new, I tend to get quite over-rotated and probably a little bit too much of an early rotation with the lower body.
Yeah, and everyone's a little different on how they do it and how much they need to do it. We're going to play around with if we tighten it up a little bit to see what it is. Obviously, good amount of rotation, but good rotation is important. If the rotation is coming at the cost of, say, pelvis thrust or changing my body position, then I would call that, I call it fake rotation. It's not, you're not actually really doing anything except turning more.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Honestly, I think that's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's set in there.
Yeah, so that felt like a pretty, just focusing on the stuff that we've already worked on, but
well, it's funny because
not feeling anything with my hips. Though.
Yeah, and your hips didn't go as much as before. Give me one more.
Interesting, okay.
But that's fine.
I think partially because I've shortened, the motion's shortened up a little bit after working with the ball.
So here, I'll show you. So this is the face-on one. So like this is obviously a lot less than it was already, but we can play around. I'll show you a really easy drill to help even sync that up a little bit more.
Cool.
You can see how your body slows down actually through impact because it used to have to.
Interesting.
So we'll get to that in a second. So show me the setup with trail hand on the club, lead hand on your lead thigh, okay? In the first move, I want you to extend that hand back, okay? So you get some width there, but try not to push too hard with that lead knee forward this way for you, okay?
Keeping it back a little more.
Keeping it back, so that's basically taking out that lead hip driving forward, okay?
Gotcha.
So then from there, when you get to about chest high, now, even less legs than that. Yeah, perfect. Now put this hand on, and then from there to the top, now start to drive that lead hip, or that trail hip backwards. So you're cranking later for you. You feel that?
Yeah.
More stretch?
Feels nice. Yeah, and it does. I feel a little bit more separate or stretch between kind of like my lower back, upper back.
Yeah, exactly. So we're trying to, basically, obviously we want to have some torque between the lower and upper. If everything just turns together, there's not much separation. So it's, again, we're trying to load for you, I think, a little bit more of your trail side.
And just this story, not to interrupt, but as you did that, I often will see this foot peak.
Yes.
And now I can see why, because this motion is really not cleaned up, and that's why it's peaking like that.
Yeah, at a certain point when this leg straightens so much, then the hip goes backwards. You can see where that foot would want to go, right? So for you, it's cranking this leg into the ground. It will straighten because the pelvis is higher on this side at the top, but we don't have to, and I think we could twist the knee a little bit, just a little, right there. Yeah, there you go, right there, yeah. So do you feel what that is? Good, so one more time from the start. So I'll be your, so this club is gonna calm this knee down in the first move for you. So no pressure, no pressure, no pressure. Then you load up. Do it one more time. I'll do it from here. So this is now in front of his lead hip. I'll just video it so I have a visual for you.
So less of this.
Correct. So that first move, we're just, you can slide a little, but no pressure. There you go, good. One more. So there's like, he's trying to keep his space, then you can go. You feel that?
So later, so the rotation is occurring, but it's a bit less, and it's not like right off the ball kind of
thing. Because I think for you before, when you started back foot, that early rotation would start to push you that direction.
Interesting.
So then you'd end up sort of this way, where now we're better set up, calmer first move, then loading. All of that's going to keep things more in sync. Then we can start to look at the lower body through impact.
Through impact.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that was great. I've never seen you look so calm on the way down. Oh yeah.
That felt nice. I tried to picture you keeping this here, so almost not much rotation at all until I got a little higher up, and then I let it turn.
It's interesting too, like there's not much, like there's definitely not over rotation. The club position will work on a little bit, but it will be interesting too when we play around with the 3D, what you're actually at. And then as coming through impact, we can start to get a lot more push off that back foot.
Because it's sitting down there quite a long time.
Well, think about it, why that would happen. Before, the hands were deep, right?
Yes.
You'd come down, the hands were deep. You'd have to slow down your pivot to get the club to go.
So you wouldn't want to be here because I'd be totally
You'd be even
stuck.
more, yeah. But now we're in a position where you can be here, and as we come through, like, I'll show you this drill. So set up again.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, so go to the top and stop. So halfway down, just like you're doing normal swing. Good. And then imagine that this is going to fire through as you're hitting it. You feel how much more this trail hip fired?
Gotcha, so pushing it.
Yeah, exactly. That hip, you're trying to get it to get past the golf ball.
And towards the target.
Yeah,
basically.
just like if I was punching, you know, just the same sort of hip motion.
So it's really interesting. Now I can understand why I have in the past tried that kind of a drill.
Yeah.
But because of where my arms were, all I would do is hit enormous blocks.
100%.
And I would be like, well, this can't be right.
Yeah.
So I stopped practicing.
Yeah, and that's a big power generator, right? If I can get to the top and then be in a position where things are pretty matched, so as I go to stretch, that pulls everything, then I can keep firing right through impact. I mean, that was crazy.
More
good.
like that, yeah?
Oh, so good.
Felt good.
2.4 in to out. 89, not even trying. Miles an hour. Like,
interesting.
I mean, that's crazy good, man.
Yeah, that feels really good.
How did that feel?
It feels great. It feels a lot more under control, and the sequencing of my swing just feels a little more proper. I'm starting to understand why I get flinchy at impact sometimes.
You fired.
It feels really, really good.
Two into out again. Beauty.
Wow.
Awesome.
So that's really interesting. So just to simplify it for me,
yeah.
One, I'm going to feel the first kind of maybe half the swing, a lot less activity here.
Yes.
And then load it up a little bit at the end. And then in the downswing, I'm feeling my left hip firing forward towards the target.
Correct, and that's all done because the hands are more in front of the pivot.
Which is from the ball drill that we did in the last video.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you're working hard, you're doing a lot of things, but you've already pushed the pattern, which is what, it's always nice to see, like, oh, we're focused on this, what's the outcome, and you're starting to see some results. That's great.
Absolutely, and the ball flight and the strikes and everything are starting to feel really, really good, so
awesome.
I will be working on this.
So if that's something that can help you, give it a try. It's some easy, cues that you can.
Very simple, yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, man. If you need any more help for your game, check out TimingGolf.com.